So a couple of weeks ago we talked about sin. Sin is when we've gone too far, when we've disobeyed God. But there's a point where we battle, and that's the point of temptation. And that's what we want to talk about today, is the idea of temptation. First thing I want us to realize is that temptation is commonplace. We all face it. We all have to deal with it. It doesn't matter whether you're 10 years old or 90 years old. You still have to deal with temptation. In 1 Peter 4:12, Peter says, "Beloved, do not be surprised at the fiery trial when it comes upon you to test you, as though something strange were happening to you." Temptation is not a strange thing. We face it regularly, and everyone has to face it. So it should not surprise us that we do face temptations, that we do face trials. In 1 Corinthians 10:13, Paul says, "No temptation has overcome you that is not common to man. God is faithful, and he will not let you be tempted beyond your ability. But with the temptation, he will also provide a way of escape, that you may be able to endure it." So Paul reminds us that temptation is common to man. He also reminds us that when a temptation arises, God will give us a way to escape it. Give us a way to get out of it. Give us a way to avoid it completely sometimes. There are certain places we go to, and if we go there, we surround ourselves with temptation. In high school, my friends and I, we'd go to the pool hall sometimes to go play pool. Now, going there, we were surrounding ourselves with temptation. We ignored it for the most part, but we surrounded ourselves with possible temptations. The temptation to drink, the temptation to smoke. Those are commonplace things at that type of place. So by going there, we put ourselves in a place that surrounded us with temptation. So sometimes the out is not going to those places. And then I know I've told this story before, where we were going to go bowling one time, and my friends decided, as we drove past Hooters, they decided they wanted to go there instead. They were either doing a swimsuit or a wet t-shirt contest. It was something like that. So they decided they wanted to go. So while they were inside for 2 hours doing that, I sat in the car. Because I refused to surround myself with that temptation. But we're always surrounded with temptations, but there are normally, always, according to Paul here, a way out. A way to avoid falling to those temptations. Of course, sometimes we get into them just because we're weak. And we can't deal with it. That temptation is so strong to us, we just feel like we have to cave in. But we don't. In Matthew 4:1, we're told, Romans 7:19-21. And here Paul tells us, For I do not do the good I want, but the evil I do not want is what I keep on doing. Now if I do what I do not want, it is no longer I who do it, but sin that dwells within me. So I find it to be a law that when I want to do right, evil lies close at hand. So all of us who call ourselves Christians, we should want to do what's right. But because temptation is always there, sin is close at hand. Temptation is that leading factor, that point that says, okay, you got to deal with me. Are you going to sin or not sin? If we do what's right, we're not going to sin. Unfortunately, even Paul says, you know what? Sometimes I give into the sin. I give into the temptation. Even though I know better, I still give in. So if even Paul gave in, after being converted, after becoming this pillar of faith, this pillar of witness for God's gospel, even he fell to temptation sometimes. So there's some encouragement to know that that temptation is commonplace. We all face it. It means we don't have to feel we're alone when we face a temptation. We can know someone else has had to deal with that. Someone else is dealing with some other temptation right now as I'm dealing with this one. You know, one of the biggest issues with being overcome by temptation is often peer pressure. When you get faced by a group of people who want to force you to do something, whether it's right or wrong. So because peer pressure usually is a negative, we tend to forget that we can rely on a support group to help us overcome our problems. And there are different support groups out there. The Church of Christ, there's quite a few churches of Christ that support, and I don't like what the name of it is, but there's a big support group thing that they support, that they're involved with, which deal with different kinds of sins and helping you overcome those. Even outside of the church, you've got groups like AA, you've got Gambling Anonymous, you've got all these types of things, and they're support groups to help you overcome and give you that support you need to face those temptations, those demons in our closets. And often you need that support group when it's a really strong temptation for you. You need that support group. You need to realize that you can go within the church. You can come to church. We tend to think we can't do that, but that's part of what we do when I come up here and give the invitation. I give you that opportunity to come say, I need the church's strength. And it's okay to do that. I want you to know that you don't need to be afraid to do that. It's not going to change our views of you. We're still going to love you. And because of our love, we're going to try and help support you however we can. So not only is it commonplace, but even Jesus dealt with temptation. Jesus was tempted. In Matthew 4:1, then Jesus was led up by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. And if you go on and read the accounts of the Synoptics, we see him face multiple temptations. The devil tried to convince Satan to turn on God, to rebel against God, to do it his way. He tried to puff up Jesus' pride. He says, I'll give you everything, just bow down to me. He was going to give Jesus, the people, everything. Although, of course, the way Satan would have had it done would have been the way the disciples would have had it done. Jesus would have been a physical king and not the spiritual ruler we have today. We've got a couple great passages in Hebrews. In Hebrews 2:18, for because he himself has suffered when tempted, he is able to help those who are being tempted. So yes, Jesus was tempted. But you know what? He never caved into those temptations. He's the one and only being who never caved in. But because he was tempted, he understands what it means to be tempted. It's the reason he is able to be a good mediator, the only mediator between us and God. Because he knows how hard it is to be tempted. We see just how hard it was in the Garden of Gethsemane, when he really would have preferred to do things any way but God's. He so much did not want to go to that cross and face all those things he was going to have to face those few hours, that his perspiration turned to blood. But he did not cave in. And he acknowledged, I've put out to you my will. But it's not my will that needs to be fulfilled. It's yours. And so he went through with God's plan. So he understands what it means to be tempted. but he also knows how to overcome temptation better than we do. And also in Hebrews 4:15, for we do not have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weakness, but one who in every respect has been tempted as we are, yet without sin. So going along the same lines there, he gets to be high priest. He gets to deal with, take away our sin, because he understands what it is to be tempted. He can acknowledge to God, look, I understand what it's like to deal with that, to face loss. I understand what it's like to have people make me angry. I understand what it's like to want to do something I know I shouldn't do. Jesus can understand each and every one of those. Here's the big question, though, the one we all want to deal with, we wrestle with. Okay, so temptation is commonplace. Why? Why is it common? Why do we all have to deal with it? I'm sure there's probably more answers to be had here, but I've got 3. The first one actually comes out of Genesis, chapter 4, verse 7. And this is God dealing with Cain. Cain is angry at Abel. He's ready to kill him. If you do well, will you not be accepted? And if you do not do well, sin is crouching at the door. Its desire is for you, but you must rule over it. So part of our challenge here in this life is to learn to rule over our desires, to face our temptations and beat them. That is just a natural part of what it means to live in this existence, live this life. In 1 Peter 1:7, so that the tested genuineness of your faith, more precious than gold that perishes though it is tested by fire, may be found to result in praise and glory and honor at the revelation of Jesus Christ. So those temptations, those tests, they're there to test the genuineness of our faith, to prove our faith is not going to falter, that our faith is stronger than the testing of gold, where gold can be destroyed and will be destroyed in the end. The question is, will our faith be destroyed in the end? And God's looking for those whose faith will not be destroyed. Like Job, where God can give permission to Satan to do pretty much anything he wants. And we're not going to be found faulted for anything we say or do, because our faith will still be in God. A faith that can say, the Lord gives, the Lord takes away. The other passage is James chapter 1, 13 through 15. Let no one say when he is tempted, I am being tempted by God. For God cannot be tempted with evil, and he himself tempts no one. But each person is tempted when he is lured and enticed by his own desire. Then desire, when it is conceived, gives birth to sin. And sin, when it is fully grown, brings forth death. So we need to remember it's our weakness that causes us to sin. It's our weakness that puts us in situations where we're going to be tempted, where we're going to be tried, where we're going to say, I want to do this even though I know I shouldn't. Even though I know that's not the best choice for me to make. It's the one I want to make. And so we make it, then that becomes sin. And of course, the wages of sin, as Paul says in Romans, is death. And yes, I know, sins range. There are sins that are more severe than others. But there really is only one consequence for sin. The despite the fact that murder may be worse than envy. In the end, they both are going to bring you death without the salvation of Christ. Which is why the result of our faith should be praise and glory and honor at the revelation of Jesus Christ, at the teaching that he died for our sins, to erase them forever, and to make us, to refine us so that we can become this new creature that before God is seen as pure, perfect. So what are the best ways for us to deal with our sins? Well, deal with our temptations. Luke 22:40, Jesus said, here's what it said. And when he came to a place, he said to them, pray that you may not enter into temptation. So one of our best defenses against temptation is prayer. You know, equivalent to this, over in Matthew 26, verse 41, Jesus says, watch and pray, that you may not enter into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. Here he's also highlighting prayer, but I think we need to pay attention to that first part. Watch. Be alert. Be aware. Pay attention to what you're doing, where you're going, what situations you're putting yourself into. Those are every bit as important as praying. If we're paying attention to where we're going, what we're doing, we're less likely to put ourselves into a situation to be tempted. You know, there's an episode of Bones where the FBI agent, Celie Booth, he's had a past with gambling. And he's been going to an anonymous group to help him deal with that. But he gets confronted with this case where the killer is one of these group of poker players. And they don't know which one. So they decide that someone needs to go undercover to try and figure out who this person is. And Booth decides he's a senior agent, he needs to do it. And multiple people of his friends try and convince him, you do not need to be the one going in there. Because it will be a huge temptation for you. You don't need to put yourself in that situation. Someone else could do this. Or we can get the information we need some other way. But he won't listen. And he puts himself into that spot. He goes undercover. And he gets hooked. So the next few episodes, you see Booth starting to gamble again. Placing wagers on sports events, primarily. But he put himself in that spot of temptation, being warned, knowing full well it would be a temptation for him. He went into it anyway. If we're watching, if we're being alert, if we're realizing that's a temptation, and we have the option not to put ourselves there, that's what he's saying, is we don't need to put ourselves in that situation if we know better. If we don't know better, okay, we may end up in that situation. But if we can avoid it, we should. Then we don't have to deal with that temptation. We've averted it. We've fled from it. So we watch, we be alert, we need to be aware. We need to discern what situations are going to be temptations for us, and we avoid them. And for those we can't, we pray to God to keep us from temptation. So no, yes, you're going to face temptations, but you've got God on your side. You've got a congregation that loves you on your side. You don't have to face them alone. You don't have to deal with them alone. And if for some reason you fall into that temptation and you sin, you can be forgiven for that as well. And you know, that's one of the things that happens. It takes a few episodes. After Booth's wife confronts him about finding out he had been gambling, and they separate for a little while. Eventually, they're able to work things out, and she forgives him. He's able to forgive himself. But it does take time for that. But God forgives us. If we come to him and repent, he forgives us instantly. And we're to forgive each other instantly when we find out. If we confess to one of our brothers and sisters that we've sinned, and we've gone to God to repent, just as he forgives, we should forgive. Of course, as we forgive, he'll forgive us. So if you need to come forward this morning, you've got a temptation that you're dealing with, that you need our help with, we'll pray for you. We'll encourage you. If you sin, you need to come forward and repent. You can do that before us as well. Or if you need to come to Christ as for first-time repentance, to say, Lord, I want to become one of your disciples, one of your sons or daughters. You have that opportunity now as well, as we come to stand and sing.